broadcasting live at the Toms River Auto Group studio in Northfield. It's the locker room. Billy Schweim, Mike Carlin. Now, Mike, every Sunday during the baseball season, we go on the mound with Tommy Green, brought to you by the John R. Elliot Hero Campaign for designated drivers, a longtime partner of the Philadelphia Phillies, reminding you not to drink and drive and to always have a designated driver. Designated hitters win games. Designated drivers save lives. Take the Hero Pledge today at herocampaign.org, and remember to be a hero. Be a designated driver. Let's go to the Maserati, the Mainline Sports Hotline, and welcome in former Phillies pitcher Tommy Green. Good morning, T. Green.
Good morning, Billy. How you doing, pal?
All right, listen, I'm happy that we got a big Sixers win yesterday, and a big Phillies win yesterday late afternoon. But Tommy Green, I guess the biggest news, the biggest surprise is how well our bullpen's pitching.
How about that? You know, everything's kind of everything ebbs and flows a little bit. We can't panic too early. We talked about that last week a little bit. Don't panic too bad. They'll kind of get on a run a little bit and do some things. Sad to see Bilotti having to go on the shelf a little bit, because he was that first couple of weeks he was the man taking the ball every night for them. They got which is, you hate to see somebody go down with injury. He was starting to struggle a little bit. So, I can see that. But hey, it's great to see those guys reverse the trend with win and loss record. Last week going 2-5, and this week going 5-2. Pretty good thing. We need to do more of that.
We're talking with former Phillies pitcher Tommy Green, as we do every Sunday throughout the baseball season. On the Mound with Tommy Green, brought to you by the John R. Elliott Hero Campaign for designated drivers. Tommy, before we get into our Phillies talk, Matt Scherzer had a little incident with some rosin, and what do you make of all this? I mean, you're a former pitcher, so you might want to tell us the tricks of the trade, or if you think he's really guilty of what he's accused of.
Well, I didn't read in depth with it. I know some people have the theory, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying type thing. But I know for myself, I never used any stuff like that, and I wanted to know what the ball was doing myself. I'd get a scuff back sometimes, from a ball put in play, because they throw everything out now. If it hits the dirt, they throw it out.
Yeah.
And I remember back in the day, they were conserving balls. I'd get a ball with a scuff on it, and I was like, I'd throw it back to the catcher because I wanted the ball. I wanted to know where it was going because I didn't know how to use it. And if you don't know how to use it, so I just kept it simple with me.
So Tommy, let me ask you this question. So if you get a scuffed ball, you'd rather have? I thought scuffed balls are probably easier.
Dirty them up, yeah.
Easier to control, or you could. I mean, you're telling me you like a completely clean baseball?
No, I don't like a completely clean ball. I like when they rub up the balls with the type of mud they got, especially in the big leagues. I like for the ball to be a little darker. It's got to be rubbed up so it's not slick. It's like throwing a cue ball. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, you start getting like that, you start losing command of it too a little bit. But I mean, there's different things. Some guys like it stick. I know Terry Mulholland back in the day. We used to call it. It was like him. He wouldn't use any seams. His fingers would be like with the seams, but around where his fingertips and stuff were like in the horseshoe of the ball. Wasn't on any seams or anything. We used to call it a dry spitter. He liked it slicker. He liked it slick. That ball kind of squirted out a little bit and tended to sink, but sometimes it's hard to command. It's just like anything. You won't command sometimes, and then other times you're trying to throw a breaking ball for a strike. You're trying to make it appear to be a strike and bounce it in the dirt. It's got a late hard break. You got to make the hitter decide, okay, do I need to swing at this or not? Type thing. So
609-403-0973 is the text board. If you want to send Tommy a question, 609-403-0973. We'll see if we get the peeps involved, and they have a question for you, a couple questions for you, Tommy. But Tommy, the Phillies are notoriously famous for slow starts. They're 12-10 now. They Colorado
10-12 or 12-10?
10-12. What did I say?
10-12.
They're 10-12. And they're beat up on Colorado, but you got to beat the teams you play.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, every game's. That's why you hear us Now, me doing some radio on the other, you're playing the team in front of you, and it's just like people talk about postseason, trying to get into postseason. Once you get there, anybody can be beat, man. You know, in a short series, or or in a 5-game or 7-game series, anybody can get hot that time and beat the guys they're not, so to speak, supposed to beat. You know, so you treat every game, as its own entity, and you go out there and try to accomplish what you do well. That's what I used to do. When I pitched, is about when things start struggling a little bit. I used to take that step off the back of the mound and gather my thoughts. Now you can't do that as much because of the pitch clock.
Yeah.
And you gather your thoughts and you reinforce the positives about what you're going to do this next pitch. So you have a better chance to succeed. You can't get too far ahead. You can't think too far ahead. You got to take care of what's in front of you, each pitch, each at bat, that type thing, for the guys. And that's what they do, and it's about, we're creatures of habit, and we're trying to do the same things over and over that we know we can do well, but still you get in funks and you have to try to figure it out again. And it's amazing how that gray matter gets in the way sometimes. So it's a lot of mental, it's a lot of physical stuff.
Tom, you're absolutely right. It's Michael. We were talking before the break about how, like, last year's start with the Phillies and now this year's start. And, this time 2 weeks ago, we were like, oh, boy, it could be a slow start again. But in the last 7 games, we're 5-2. We got Wheeler on the mound today. We can start picking up a little momentum with, we're going to have Seattle at home the next 3 games. They're 10-11. So it's not like they're lighting the fire.
Yeah,
right.
We could pick up a game here, pick up a game here. And like Tommy said, during the season, you just want to get to the postseason. Anything can happen in the postseason,
Right.
and we showed that with the Phillies last year. You get hot, guys get hurt at the last second. You just want to get yourself into play to have a chance. Yeah. And the Phillies are doing that right now.
Well, you're making good points there. We're talking about the right stuff in the way we're approaching it. We got to, hopefully as fans get on that bandwagon as far as thinking the right way. You're going to go through stretches during the course of the season where you kind of struggle a little bit, and then you're going to go through real good stretches where they might run, go 15-2, or something like that. You never know what's going to happen, But it's all about playing consistent baseball or doing the little things right, which they, sort of got in a bad habit early about, they were real aggressive on the bases and stuff, but they were making mistakes on the bases, which was costing them runs and chances to win. To me, a couple ball games maybe, So, it's about cutting out those things and playing smart baseball and playing good defense, And right now they're doing a pretty good job at that, as far as that's concerned, which it picks up your pitching staff if you're playing good defense and making, a play maybe you shouldn't have made, or something like that could save your bacon a little bit as a pitcher. And it's the same thing for the pitching staff. They got to get on the road where you pick up hitters. Some games you have to win 1-0, 2-1. Yep. You can't expect the hitters to go blast everything, which we got to line up to do it if they get hot, and it's about getting guys hot at the right time.
And they are starting to hit the ball.
We've had a very good start. We've had a good start to the season by the daycare. You can't ask any better. Now it's time for, but it's time for the big guys that, to kind of start inching back up. We're still in there. We're not even out of April yet.
Yeah.
So.
It's still early. 609-403-0973. Tommy, we're going to take some text messages, and people are going to ask you a question. Danny, you have a question for one of our listeners?
Yeah.
Tommy?
Hey, Tommy, we got a text from Dan in EHT. Says, how special would it be for the Phillies to win the World Series on the 30-year anniversary of the fan favorite 1993 team? He says, to this day, it's still my favorite team.
Oh, it would be. I tell you what, I'm a Philly. Even though I come up with the Braves organization, you got a special affiliation with, who brought you into baseball, stuff like that. But I'm a Philly guy, true and blue. This is where I made, my home, and I love, and they're the best fans in the world. So there's no better, to me, gift, to somebody like our team is for the Phillies to win the World Series in the year that, sort of commemorated what we did back 30 years ago. That would be outstanding.
Tommy, I have a question myself as well. Today marks 5 months to the day since Bryce Harper got Tommy John surgery. He's been playing catch.
Yeah.
He's been playing first base a lot in the past few days with an arm brace, and they're expecting him back in early May. I mean, how remarkable, first off, would that recovery be? But how important is it to get the bats hot at the right time for, Bryce's return?
Okay. I mean, it's going to be a pickup thing. You can't expect it to come back and it'd be like the savior just walks out there on the field and things don't happen. It could, the guy can flat out hit. Bottom line, if he can, he's been hitting and showing he could do that. But what are the other things he's got to do to get cleared from? He's got to make. For me, I know for me as an ex-player and a guy, if I was playing on that team, I'd want that guy when he walks on the field to have no limitations. As far as if he's batting and just DHing, he's got to be able to slide, and he's got to get clearance for that arm to be healthy. As far as him, whatever way he slides and whatever, for him to not to do anything to possibly have to go back and and go right back on the IL.
Yeah.
And possibly even worse. I mean, I don't want to even think about that stuff. They got to make sure. That's just me. Everybody's getting all up in arms. Hey, there's a process he's got to go through,
100%.
and he's got to get cleared from it. Yeah, it's all right to have high hopes. I get that, but hey, let's just take it day by day. Let's clear each hurdle, and once he comes back, obviously you see he's going to be an added benefit to that lineup, and some guys are going to get some pitches because he's in that lineup. Yeah. So.
All right, the starting lineup came out for today. Stott's going to lead off, play second base. Trey Turner, shortstop, batting second. Stott batting .344, Turner .295. Schwarber, while he's only hitting, he'll be hitting third, and he's hitting .205. He hits timely home runs. Castellanos is on fire, batting .310. He knocked out his first 2 home runs yesterday. Brandon Marsh, .359. So, offensively, then you got Romuto batting sixth, Palm batting seventh. He's the DH today. He's hitting .305. Clemens, and then Sosa. And Sosa, he seems like he's Mr. Clutch, doesn't he?
Yeah, and we're doing all this with our two best players.
We're doing this with our two best players that are out.
Yeah. So guys are getting a chance to play, and that's what you that's what you got to have. You got to have guys that step up, and that's what we've had. Your MVP so far, to me, you got a couple guys in the daycare that's kind of been there day in and day out for him, which is with Marsh and Stott. They've been pretty consistent. Stott bounced from the bottom of the lineup, to the top of the lineup, giving you great at bats at the top and doing some things, and hit 350, you're right at it. And then Marsh right above him. That turns the lineup to give to the perspective. If they can keep doing that. Given when Turner gets hot a little bit, now Castellanos is starting, and then how Schwarber can go. He can carry you for like 5 or 6 days if he starts hitting, centering it up a little bit and get hot.
We need to get him in June
so
ASAP.
We have Wheeler on the mound today. Zach Wheeler, he's 1-1 with an ERA of 4.79. Tommy, yesterday's game was completed in 2 hours and 26 minutes. So these games are going fast. The clock is working. What do you want to see out of Wheeler today?
Well, I just want him. He hasn't been exactly, I don't think, where he wants to be. Sometimes, that's the way it goes. Sometimes maybe your command's not quite where you want to be, but he's trending in the right direction. The way he's pitching, he's just got to do what he does. He pounds the zone, but he's got you got to. It's not that you're not trying to miss bats, but you're wanting the miss in the right areas, not missing over the plate. You're missing in quality areas that takes some of the sting out of the bat sometimes. Not, we got to have it a little bit, and we're playing in a ballpark that it jumps out of a little bit, and you can get hurt if a ball gets out over the plate a little bit too much. It gets on the plate and more in the fat of the plate more. You can get hurt pretty quick and give up. That's what's happened a couple first innings that, in the past few games, we've given up some home runs, and, not just solo. It's been 2 or 3 run homers, and that's, when you're behind the 8 ball like that from the start, it's a tough thing to come back from, but they've showed that they can do some things like that. So it's a great quality with his team. So we need him just to give us a chance to do things, because some of the guys are waking up and starting to swing the bat good. Now, you never know. We might break out and start scoring 7-8 runs a game, and that would be a beautiful thing.
Yes, it would. All right, Tommy, today's a 12:05 start, I believe, and it's on Peacock, so you got to go looking around. But we, as always, we appreciate having you on every Sunday throughout the baseball season on the mound with Tommy Green. Tommy, we really appreciate it, buddy.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you. Great to be along. Y'all have a wonderful Sunday afternoon.
You too. There
Take
he
care,
is.
Tom.
Tommy Green on the Maserati, the main line on the mound with Tommy Green is brought to you by the John R. Elliot Hero Campaign for designated drivers.